Everyone wants to build the next flashy app, the next Tesla, the next big thing. But here's the truth. The people making real money are often running businesses you'd never think twice about. Today, I'm going to show you how boring businesses, yes, boring, can make you billions. Think about it. Trash collection, funeral laundries, vending machines. Not exactly glamorous, right? But behind the scenes, these industries are printing money. And if you stick around, I'll show you why boring might just be the smartest business strategy of all. Welcome back to the channel, your home for smart money strategies and wealth-building secrets. Let's dive into the truth most people ignore. Boring businesses don't look exciting, but they make serious money. So what do I mean by boring businesses? These are industries that don't make headlines, don't trend on Twitter, and don't get hyped by venture capitalists. But they have one thing in common: steady demand. People need them every single day, recession or not. 1. Waste management. Let's start with garbage. Most people never think about trash beyond taking it to the curb, but in the United States, waste is one of the most reliable, recession-proof industries in existence. Companies like Waste Management, Inc. generate over $20 billion annually because garbage is unavoidable. Every household, office, hospital, and restaurant produces waste every single day, regardless of whether the economy is booming or crashing. Here's where the real wealth is created: contracts and infrastructure. Waste management companies don't just pick up trash, they sign long-term municipal contracts with cities and counties. Once a company wins a contract, it often keeps it for years, sometimes decades. That creates predictable, recurring revenue, which investors love. But it gets even better. The barriers to entry are extremely high. You can't just start a trash company overnight. You need fleets of trucks, specialized landfills, permits, environmental compliance systems, and logistics networks. This means less competition and more pricing power. For example, when a city like Houston or Chicago partners with a waste company, switching providers isn't easy. It involves new infrastructure, political approval, and operational risk. So once you're in, you're locked in. That's what makes it a moat business. Then there's the hidden gold mine: landfills. Companies don't just collect trash, they own the landfills where it goes. Over time, those landfills generate additional income through methane gas capture, recycling operations, and environmental credits. This is the key lesson. Boring businesses like waste management win because they are essential, recurring, and difficult to disrupt. While people chase flashy startups, these companies quietly compound wealth year after year, turning garbage into billions. 2. Funeral services. Here's another one: funeral homes. It's not a topic people like to discuss, but from a business perspective, funeral services are one of the most predictable industries in America. Companies like Service Corporation International operate thousands of funeral homes and cemeteries, generating billions annually. Why is this business so powerful? Because demand is guaranteed. Death doesn't depend on economic cycles, trends, or consumer preferences. It's a certainty. And in the US, where the population is aging, demand is actually increasing over time. But the real money isn't just in providing services, it's in pre-need planning. Many Americans prepay for funeral arrangements years in advance. This gives companies upfront cash that they can invest long before the service is delivered. Imagine getting paid today for a service you may provide 10, 20, or even 30 years later. That's powerful cash flow. There's also an emotional component. When families are grieving, they're not price shopping aggressively. They want trust, convenience, and dignity. That gives established funeral businesses pricing power. Another advantage is consolidation. The funeral industry used to be made up of small family homes. Large corporations have been quietly acquiring these businesses, creating economies of scale. This means better margins, stronger branding, and more efficient operations. A simple example: a local funeral home might serve a community for decades. When a large company acquires it, they keep the same name and reputation, but optimize pricing, operations, and services behind the scenes. The customer never notices, but profits increase. This is what makes it a boring but brilliant business. It's consistent, emotionally driven, and highly resistant to disruption. making it a quiet wealth generator. 3. Industrial laundries. Hotels, hospitals, restaurants, they all need clean linens. Industrial laundry is one of those invisible industries that keeps America running. Companies like Cintas have built multi-billion-dollar empires by doing something simple: renting uniforms and washing them at scale. Here's how the model works. Instead of businesses buying and maintaining uniforms, they outsource everything. Cintas provides the uniforms, picks them up weekly, cleans them, and delivers fresh ones. It's a subscription-based model, meaning predictable, higher, recurring revenue. The genius of this business lies in switching costs. Once a hospital or factory signs up, changing providers is a headache. You'd have to replace uniforms, retrain staff, and risk operational disruptions. So clients stick around for years. There's also massive efficiency at scale. Industrial laundries process thousands of garments per hour using specialized equipment. The cost per item drops dramatically as volume increases, which boosts profit margins. Think about a large hotel chain in cities like New York or Las Vegas. They go through thousands of sheets, towels, and uniforms daily. Managing that internally would be expensive and inefficient. Outsourcing to a company like Cintas saves time, reduces complexity, and ensures consistency. Another layer of profit comes from cross-selling. Once a company is handling uniforms, they can upsell services like restroom supplies, safety equipment, and facility maintenance products. This increases the lifetime value of each customer. This business isn't flashy, but it's sticky, scalable, and deeply embedded in essential industries. That's why it consistently creates wealth for those who own it. 4. Vending machines and ATMs. Small machines, big money. At first glance, vending machines and ATMs seem insignificant, but in the US, they represent a powerful example of how small, repeatable income streams can scale into massive wealth. The concept is simple. Place machines in high-traffic locations, office buildings, schools, airports, gyms, and earn a small profit from each transaction. A single vending machine might generate $200, $500 per month in profit. That's not life-changing until you own 500 or 1,000 machines. Now you're talking about 6 or 7 figures in annual income. The same applies to ATMs. Operators earn fees on every withdrawal. In areas with limited banking access or high foot traffic, those fees add up quickly. What makes this business powerful is automation. Once machines are installed and stocked, they require minimal daily effort. You're essentially building a semi-passive income system. There's also a network effect. The more machines you own, the more efficient your operations become. You optimize routes for restocking, negotiate better deals with suppliers, and secure premium locations. For example, an entrepreneur in a city like Atlanta might start with 5 vending machines in local gyms. Over time, they reinvest profits to expand into office buildings and universities. After a few years, they control hundreds of locations, each quietly generating cash. The key lesson here is scale. Individually, these machines seem small, but collectively they create a powerful income engine. This is how boring systems, simple, repetitive, and overlooked, turn into wealth machines. 5. Agricultural aggregation business. Now let's talk about agriculture, but not farming. Agricultural aggregation is one of the most underrated business models in the US. Instead of growing crops, aggregators act as middlemen, buying produce from multiple farmers and supplying it to large buyers like supermarkets, food processors, and exporters. Think of companies that supply chains like Walmart or Costco. They don't grow all the food themselves. They source it from hundreds of farms, standardize quality, and distribute it at scale. This is where the money is made: coordination and logistics. Farmers are often fragmented and lack direct access to large markets. Aggregators solve this problem by pooling supply, ensuring consistent quality, and handling transportation. In return, they earn margins on every transaction. For example, an aggregator in California might collect produce from dozens of small farms and supply it to major grocery chains across the country. By controlling the supply chain, they capture value at multiple points: storage, packaging, distribution, and delivery. There's also a data advantage. Over time, aggregators understand demand patterns, pricing trends, and seasonal shifts. This allows them to negotiate better deals and maximize profits. Another key factor is scalability. As you build relationships with more farmers and buyers, your network becomes more valuable. It's not easy for new entrants to replicate. This business may not look glamorous, but it sits at the center of a trillion-dollar food system. And because food is essential, demand never disappears. The big takeaway? You don't always need to create something new to get rich. Sometimes, the real opportunity lies in connecting what already exists, efficiently, consistently, and at scale. 6. Self-storage units. Let's start with something simple: space. Companies like Public Storage built billion-dollar businesses by renting empty boxes, and that's not an exaggeration. In the United States, self-storage thrives because of one simple reality: people have too much stuff. Americans move frequently, downsize, relocate for jobs, go through divorces, or inherit belongings. And when life transitions happen, they don't throw everything away, they store it. That's where self-storage businesses step in. But here's where the real money is made: inconvenience and psychology. Once someone moves their belongings into a storage unit, they're unlikely to move them out anytime soon. It's stressful, time-consuming, and often emotional. So instead of canceling, they keep paying month after month. That creates recurring revenue with very low churn. Even better, these facilities are relatively low maintenance. Compared to apartments, there are no tenants living inside, no plumbing issues, minimal staffing. Many modern facilities are fully automated with security gates, cameras, and digital access. There's also pricing flexibility. If demand rises in a city like Dallas or Phoenix, operators can increase rents with minimal resistance because moving out is a hassle. This is what makes it powerful: low overhead plus recurring income, high customer stickiness. It's not exciting, but it's incredibly profitable. 7. Parking lots and garages. Let's talk about one of the simplest businesses in the world: parking. Owning a parking lot in a busy U.S. city is like owning digital real estate, except it's physical. No inventory, no complex operations, just land and demand. In cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York, commuters pay daily, residents pay monthly. Event pricing spikes revenue. The beauty of this business is its simplicity. Once the lot is set up, operating costs are minimal. Many locations are fully automated with payment kiosks or mobile apps. And here's the real power: the land itself appreciates in value over time. So you're not just earning cash flow, you're building long-term wealth through real estate appreciation. There's also pricing flexibility. During peak hours or major events, rates can increase significantly. It's a classic example of low complexity, high demand, strong margins. Not exciting, but incredibly effective. 8. Property management. This is one of the smartest ways to make money in real estate without owning property. Property management companies handle rent collection, tenant issues, maintenance, leasing, and they take a percentage of monthly rent. That means they earn recurring income without owning the asset. In the U.S., millions of landlords don't want to deal with tenants or late-night emergencies, so they outsource everything. Once a property manager builds trust, clients rarely leave. And as they manage more properties, their income scales without needing to invest in real estate themselves. It's a service business, but with real estate-level income potential. At the core, property managers charge 8 to 12% of monthly rent, sometimes more depending on the market and services. That might seem small, but scale changes everything. For example, managing 100 units at $1,500 per month rent, 10% management fee equals $150 per unit. That's $15,000 a month or $180,000 a year. And that's just from management fees. They also generate additional income from leasing fees, placing new tenants, maintenance coordination markups, late fees, and administrative charges. The real advantage: recurring, predictable income. Unlike flipping houses or one-time commissions, property management is a subscription-style business tied to long-term leases. Even better, as they add more properties, their costs don't rise proportionally. A small team can manage hundreds of units using software systems, automation, and vendor networks. 9. Commercial cleaning services. Every office you walk into, every hospital, every school, someone is being paid to clean it. Companies like ABM Industries generate billions providing cleaning and maintenance services. Why is this business so powerful? Because cleaning is not optional. Businesses must maintain hygiene standards, especially in healthcare, education, and corporate environments. Most contracts are long-term and recurring. Daily cleaning, weekly maintenance, specialized services. Once you secure a contract, it often lasts for years. And because reliability matters more than price, clients don't switch easily. It's consistent, predictable, and scalable. The power of this business lies in one word: consistency. Cleaning isn't optional. It's not a luxury, it's a requirement. Offices must stay presentable. Hospitals must meet strict sanitation standards. Schools must maintain safe environments. That means demand never disappears, even during economic downturns. But here's where it gets really powerful. Most cleaning services are contract-based and recurring. Typical contracts include daily janitorial services, weekly deep cleaning, specialized sanitation, medical, industrial, etc. Once a contract is signed, it often runs for 1 to 5 years or longer. That creates predictable monthly revenue, stable cash flow, long-term client relationships. For example, securing a contract for a mid-sized office building in a city like Dallas or Atlanta could generate thousands of dollars every month on autopilot. Now multiply that across 10, 20, or 50 buildings. 10. HVAC services, heating and cooling. Now imagine it's the middle of summer in Texas, and your AC stops working. You're not comparing prices, you're fixing it immediately. Companies like Trane Technologies operate in a market driven by urgency. Heating and cooling systems are essential across the U.S. Revenue comes from installation, repairs, maintenance contracts, and maintenance plans create recurring income. Once a customer trusts a provider, they stick with them for years. Urgency plus necessity, strong pricing power. 11. Toll roads and infrastructure. Some of the richest investors in the world don't build apps. They own infrastructure. We're talking about toll roads, bridges, and utilities, the systems that keep America moving every single day. While they may not get headlines like tech startups, they generate some of the most predictable and long-lasting income streams in the entire economy. The magic of infrastructure lies in one powerful concept: daily usage, daily income. Every time a driver passes through a toll booth, every time a truck transports goods across a highway, money is being generated. This isn't occasional revenue, it's constant cash flow. For example, major toll systems like the Pennsylvania Turnpike or New York's bridges and tunnels handle millions of vehicles per year. Even a small toll fee, say $2 to $10, adds up quickly when multiplied at scale. Now imagine 100,000 vehicles per day. Average toll equals $5. That's $500,000 per day from a single roadway. The magic of infrastructure lies in one powerful concept: daily usage equals daily income. Every time a driver passes through a toll booth, every time a truck transports goods across a highway, money is being generated. This isn't occasional revenue, it's constant cash flow. 12. Debt collection agencies. This one is controversial, but extremely profitable. Debt collection is one of those industries most people avoid talking about, but behind the scenes, it's a multi-billion-dollar machine built on a simple idea: buying money for less than it's worth. Companies like Encore Capital Group specialize in purchasing unpaid debts, credit cards, personal loans, medical bills, for a fraction of their original value. Here's the basic formula. A bank or lender issues loans or credit. Some borrowers fail to repay. Instead of chasing every debt, the lender sells it. That's where debt buyers step in. They purchase large portfolios of unpaid debt at steep discounts. For example, $1,000 of unpaid debt might be sold for $100. The collection company then works to recover as much as possible. If they collect $300, they've just made a $200 profit. Now multiply that across thousands or millions of accounts. That's how this becomes a massive business. At its core, debt collection is driven by one thing: probability at scale. Not every debtor will pay. Some will ignore calls, some can't afford to pay, but a percentage will. And because the debt was purchased so cheaply, even partial repayments generate strong returns. This is where data becomes critical. Companies analyze: credit histories, payment behaviors, income patterns, to determine which debts are worth pursuing. It's not guesswork, it's a highly calculated system. A small portfolio might be risky, but a large, diversified portfolio spreads that risk. Think of it like this. Out of 1,000 accounts, maybe only 300 people pay something, but that's enough to generate profit because the initial purchase price was so low. The bigger the portfolio, the more predictable the outcome. 13. Ice supply and distribution. Simple product, massive demand. Ice is needed everywhere. Restaurants, events, grocery stores, logistics. It's cheap to produce but constantly required. Distributors build routes and supply businesses daily. Repeat customers, steady demand equals reliable income. 14. Recycling and scrap metal. Finally, turning waste into profit. Companies like Sims Limited operate a powerful model. They buy scrap metal, process it, and resell it. So they get paid. When acquiring materials, when selling processed goods, it's a double-sided profit system tied to industrial demand. So why do these boring businesses crush it? Evergreen demand. People always need them. Low glamour. Fewer competitors chasing them. Scalable. Once you own contracts or machines, revenue repeats. Recession resistant. People still need trash pickup and funerals, no matter the economy. Wealth often hides in plain sight in the boring stuff nobody wants to touch. If you enjoyed learning about boring billion-dollar businesses, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because next time I'll show you even more industries that look dull, but make fortunes. Remember, sometimes the most boring ideas are the most profitable. Now I want to hear from you. Which boring business do you think is the most profitable? Or maybe you've seen one in your city that's quietly making a fortune. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and I'd love to feature some of your ideas in the next video.